She made him a deal at 6 in the morning. She was holding her own face. Her hand was shaking, and she looked her father directly in the eye. She told him to take her to the hospital. She told him to order the scan. She said if it came back clear, he could have everything. He took that deal. He should not have. Her father had watched her limp for months. He had watched her grip countertops and breathe through her teeth, and he decided the most logical explanation was that she was faking it. If you have ever given everything to someone and watched them treat it like nothing, you already know how this feels. Subscribe. This story has one of the most satisfying endings I have told. I do not want you to miss it. Chloe was 23 years old when this happened. She had been working in her father's bakery since she was 15. Not helping out, working. Opening shifts, closing shifts, weekend catering orders that ran 12 hours straight. Sterling owned the bakery. He also owned the accounting firm next door. He owned the house Chloe grew up in. He owned, as far as he was concerned, most of the opinions in the room at any given time. He was the kind of man who logged everything. Receipts, schedules, performance reviews. He once sent Chloe a written evaluation of her customer service skills on her birthday. Chloe was the kind of person who showed up anyway. She showed up when her knees hurt. She showed up when she was running a fever. She learned the catering contracts by memory so she could quote them faster than he could find the file. That was the dynamic. He set the standard. She cleared it. He raised it again. For 8 years, that was the agreement. Then her back started hurting. It did not start dramatically. It started as a dull ache below her shoulder blades. She mentioned it once. Sterling told her to stretch more. Then it moved lower. Then her legs started going numb during long shifts. She started gripping the back counter for balance when she thought no one was watching. She saw a general practitioner in March. They told her to rest and gave her anti-inflammatories. The pain did not respond. She booked a follow-up appointment for 6 weeks later. She kept working. By October, she was waking up at 3 in the morning with what she later described as a burning pressure that ran from her lower spine down both legs. She had missed 4 mornings of work in 8 months. 4. She had been managing this for approximately 9 months by the time her father stood in her doorway at dawn and told her she was a liar. What nobody in that room knew was that a tumor had been growing inside her spinal canal for most of that year. The back pain accusation was not the first time. When Chloe was 16, she competed in a regional debate tournament. She placed second. Sterling picked her up afterward and told her that second place suggested a preparation problem, not a talent problem. He handed her a printed schedule for the following week's practice sessions before they reached the highway. She did not tell him until years later that she had competed with a 101-degree fever. When she was 19, he pushed her to complete a 5-mile charity walk for the firm. Halfway through, the blisters on her left foot had broken open and were bleeding through her sock. She told him. He looked at her foot and told her that pain was just a mental error. He said the body was mostly an attitude problem. She finished the walk. He posted a photo of them crossing the finish line on the firm's social media. He used the word resilience in the caption. Then came the December before all of this. The bakery had landed a catering contract for a city council holiday dinner. Sterling told Chloe that this was the most visible opportunity the bakery had ever had. He said this 3 times in one conversation. He said that her performance over the next 2 weeks would either build or permanently damage his reputation with the city's elite clients. She was already waking up in pain every night by then. She did not tell him. She put together the menus, confirmed the quantities, scheduled the staff, and ordered the supplies. Then her body started giving out on her. That morning, Sterling did not knock. He walked into her room at dawn, told her the catering order needed her on site, and called her back pain a calculated move to avoid the holiday rush. She tried to sit up. Her legs buckled. She hit the nightstand on the way down. She knocked a glass off the edge. It shattered. He looked at her on the floor. He looked at the glass. Then he said the words about reputation, about weakness, about what people would think. Then he slapped her. She sat on the floor holding her face. She did not cry. Her jaw tightened, her breathing was controlled, and she made him a deal. Comment trigger, I need to pause here. Has anyone ever treated your pain like it was a performance? Like your body was just an excuse and not a reality? Tell me in the comments. I want to know how you handled it. Chloe did not negotiate after she made the offer. She stated the terms once. Hospital. Full spinal MRI. If the scan was clear, she would sign her share of the bakery to him and never bring it up again. She said it the way someone reads a contract clause aloud. Flat, precise. Sterling agreed because he was certain he was right. He had been certain about her for years. This was just one more item on a very long list of things he had already decided. She dressed herself slowly. She did not ask for help. She walked to the car with one hand on the wall. She did not speak during the drive. At the hospital, Sterling introduced himself to the front desk staff by name and firm. He mentioned the city council contract. He was accustomed to that information opening doors. The triage nurse noted Chloe's gait and flagged the file before Sterling finished his second sentence. Doctor? Vance came in 12 minutes later. She reviewed Chloe's reflexes at the bedside. She did not look at Sterling when she ordered the scan. She looked at Chloe. Sterling told Dr. Vance he appreciated her thoroughness, but that he was sure this was precautionary. Dr. Vance told him the scan had already been ordered. They had no idea what was coming. The MRI took 40 minutes. Sterling sat in the waiting area with his phone. He checked the firm's email. He drafted a note to the catering venue about the morning's delay. Then Dr. Vance came back. She asked Sterling to put his phone away. He did. She pulled up the scan on the wall screen. She did not ease into it. She pointed to the image and explained what they were looking at. A tumor, aggressive, pressing directly into the spinal canal. She said Chloe had almost certainly been experiencing what she described as unimaginable physical pain for the better part of the past year. The room was very quiet. Sterling's face changed in a way that had nothing to do with performance. The color left it. He looked at the screen for a long time. He looked at Chloe. She was sitting on the exam table looking at her hands. Chloe's grandmother called the hospital when she heard. Chloe's mother arrived within the hour. She found Sterling in the stairwell on the second floor. He was doubled over with his back against the wall. He was not making a sound at first. Then he was. He kept saying the same thing. He kept saying he had hit a child who was fighting for her life. Chloe's mother did not tell him it was fine. She sat down on the step next to him and did not say anything for a while. Back in the room, the surgical team was already being assembled. The tumor required immediate intervention. The surgery was scheduled for the following morning. That night, Chloe sat in her hospital bed and told her father about the charity walk. She told him about the blisters. She told him about the blood in her sock and the way she had finished anyway, because he said pain was just a mental error. She said it without drama. She was tired. She said it the way you say something that has been stored for a long time. Sterling did not defend himself. He pulled his chair directly to her bedside. He opened a spreadsheet on his laptop. He began logging her vitals from the monitor display. He wrote down every number every hour through the night. At 11:40 p.m., his firm called about a merger that had been 18 months in preparation. He looked at the phone. He told them he did not care if the whole company collapsed that night. He stayed in the chair. The surgery took 6 hours. Sterling wore a path in the floor of the waiting area. His shoes were scuffed by the time the surgeon came out. The tumor was out. No nerve damage. He sat down in the nearest chair and put his face in his hands. The months after surgery were long and uneven. Sterling learned Chloe's physical therapy protocol the way he learned anything, completely. He read the research. He cross-referenced her medications. He sat on the floor of the rehab center and held her hand when her legs did not cooperate and she had to start a sequence over. There was an afternoon when she fell during a walking exercise and she got frustrated in a way she could not contain. She told him she did not want him to watch. He stepped into the hallway. He stood there for 11 minutes until she opened the door. That was not a perfect moment. It was just a real one. 6 months after surgery, he brought a box to the rehab center. Inside were old photographs printed as film strips. He pointed to one of Chloe at 10 years old at a debate tournament. She looked exhausted in the photo. She was smiling, but her eyes were not in it. He told her he was sorry for every time he had measured her by what she produced instead of who she was. He told her he had resigned from the firm's partnership. Not dramatically. He just said it as a fact. She did not tell him it was okay. She held the photograph for a long time. 6 months after that, the family sat together for a meal Chloe baked herself. Sterling raised a glass. He said she was the strongest person he had ever had the privilege of auditing. She looked at him across the table. She almost smiled. Here's the thing I want you to hold on to. Her body was telling the truth the entire time. She was not the problem. She was never the problem. The problem was a person who had decided that her pain was data he could overrule. You cannot audit someone's nervous system into submission. She knew that. It just took the rest of the room a little longer to catch up. Second comment trigger, tell me something. If this had been you, would you have done the same thing? Or would you have given him one more chance? Drop it in the comments. And if you know someone who needs to hear this story right now, send it to them. They will know why. If this story gave you that feeling, that specific satisfaction of watching the truth finally land, subscribe. Because I have more. Stories about people who were written off and counted out, who then made sure that was the last mistake anyone made. See you in the next one.